Welcome to the Betting Above the Rim podcast. Today's date, July 16th, episode 167 of the Betting Above the Rim podcast. Let's get started. Caitlin Clark makes her way back. Indiana Fever wins 3 out of 4 games, but then trouble hit with about 35 seconds left to go, and their win last night versus Connecticut Sun. You saw Caitlin Clark kind of grab at the groin, the same injury that she had previously, and now we look at how long she's going to miss. Remember, she did miss 5 games to this groin injury, and you have to wonder is how a team like the Indiana Fever attacks this moving forward. Indiana Fever does have a game tonight, Wednesday night. Obviously, you'll hear this podcast tomorrow on Thursday versus New York Liberty. I don't expect her to play. We'll talk about what her outcome is in regards to not only All-Star Weekend, but moving forward. But if you're Indiana, as much as the league needs her, you need her healthy. Caitlin Clark out with a groin injury again. Hopefully they take their time, kind of the way like the New York Liberty did with Jonquel Jones. Speaking of Caitlin Clark, ESPN came out with their top 20 players currently in the WNBA. And I just want to read off the list really quick, and then I got to talk about where I have problems. Number 1, this is the only argument I don't have a problem with. Number 1, Nafisha Collier. 2, Asia Wilson. Then we go Alyssa Thomas, Brianna Stewart, Sapp. That's your top 5, 6 through 10. Alicia Gray, Satu Sabali, Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark at 9. We'll talk about that in a second. And Yeka Onwumage, 10. 11 through 20 go Skylar Diggins, Kelsey Plum, Paige Beckers, Jackie Young, Kelsey Mitchell, Ryan Howard, Kayla McBride, Angel Reese, Darica Hamby, and Gabby Williams. So I think some of the things that is pretty interesting is, first off the bat, is Jonquel Jones is now on the list. Now, ESPN did say that the reason why Jonquel was not on the list is because she's missed too many games. I would be curious to see where Jonquel is on that list, because if I think Jonquel Jones is healthy, I think she is top 10. Before I get to the 2 big superstars, one notable absence is Arike Awumba-Wale. She's had a rough season so far with Dallas, and I want you to be on the lookout for someone like Arike Awumba-Wale. Could she be traded at the deadline for some team looking to make a run to win a WNBA championship? But let's get to the nitty-gritty, and let's get to where the problems are. It's very simple. Folks, Paige Beckers is a top 10 player in the WNBA. Period. End of story. I don't even want to get into a discussion with this. Like, this kid, her ability to score, her ability to defend, shoot the 3, rebound, pass the ball, and on a team that is awful. Right now, trending to get the number 1 overall pick if they win the WNBA lottery. Possibly to draft her buddy AZ Fudd, maybe. But when you look at Paige Beckers is a top 10 player in the WNBA for her entire game of what she can do. Let's get to Caitlin Clark. When you look at this list, is Nafisha Collier should be number 1? Yes, absolutely. 2 through 5, with Asia Wilson, Alyssa Thomas, Brianna Stewart, Sabrina Nescu, you can move those kids in order in any way, shape, or form. But to me, to put Caitlin Clark as the 9th best player in the WNBA, I know she's been hurt. I know she has not hit a damn 3 in about a month. I get it. But you can't tell me that kid, let alone is only the 9th best player in the team, but she's not even the best player, that you're going to take Aaliyah Boston. There's no disrespect to Aaliyah Boston. She's definitely, to me, a top 15 player in the league. But she ain't better than Paige, and she's certainly not better than Caitlin Clark for all that what CC can do. Simply put, the lowest Caitlin Clark could be on this list because of how she's playing is 6. I know Alicia Gray has been out fantastic. Alicia Gray has been fantastic for the Atlanta Dream. I know Satu Sabali has been great with the Phoenix Mercury team that's overachieved that I told everyone about. But they're not better than Caitlin Clark. Let's just put this crap to bed. The one that's flew off the charts is Alyssa Thomas, which is deserved. Do I think she's the 3rd best player in the league? No, I think it's probably Stewie. So if you're going to ask me who's my top 6, based off how they played this year and overall, I'm probably going Big Fish. And then I'm going to probably go Brianna Stewart. I'll go Asia Wilson. I'll go then Alyssa Thomas. Then I'll go probably there Caitlin Clark at 5, Sabrina Ionescu at 6. But 1 through 6, that can be fluid 2 through 6. There's no way in hell this kid is the 9th best player in the WNBA. Shame on them. And at the end of the day, the ESPN people that did it, they said that they didn't want to put their votes out. They should put their votes out because I want to see who voted where. And I will say it. They did it just for clicks. Let's move on to the NBA. As Bradley Beal has been officially bought out by the Phoenix Suns and has now signed a 2-year, $11 million deal with a player option after clearing waivers with the Clippers. Now, this move makes sense for the Clippers, and it makes sense for Bradley Beal. I talked about this before. Bradley Beal's not a point guard, folks. He is not. He is a 2-guard. That was the best he was in Washington with the member of the Wizards. So putting him at the 2 with James Harden at the point, with that front line of obviously Kawhi Leonard, of John Collins, and of Ivakhtar Zubac, that is a talented starting 5. I've said this from the jump. I said it last podcast that I thought the Clippers were the best team at plus 190 to win that division. I stand by that. I think Bradley Beal is a fantastic pickup for what he needs to be, which is a non-point guard, catch and shoot kind of guy with a really good point guard and James Harden. And he has got to be the number 3 scorer, sometimes number 4 if Zubac is going up, even sometimes at number 5. Good deal for the Clippers, good deal for Bradley Beal. Let's get to some injuries really quick. Paul George had arthroscopic surgery on his knee. Listen, at the end of the day, when you talk about Philadelphia, it's going to be about their health. You got to look at the number of games that Embiid, that Maxey, and PG8, I guess we call them, missed this past year. Philadelphia is such an intriguing team because if they're healthy, they are dangerous. The problem is the word if, because it hasn't happened for these 3 guys. Paul George, when he's right, could be a 20-point-a-game scorer, but he was not right last year. He's hurt going into this year. Hopefully he's back by the start of training camp. Speaking of coming back by the start of training camp, Dereck Lively is out for after undergoing surgery to clean up bone spurs in his right foot. Dallas is so intriguing, folks, not because of the fact of the injuries and as far as injury to Kyrie Irving, but they have guys besides Kyrie that are injury prone. Anthony Davis, he had surgery. Let's see when he gets back. Dereck Lively, Daniel Gafford has missed time, right? Clay's getting up there in age. So with a team with Cooper Flagg, if they're healthy, there's that magic word again. If they are healthy, then you should be looking at over 40.5 wins for the Dallas Mavericks right now on the FanDuel Sportsbook. But that's the problem. If. And when you talk about the word if, that means that there is injury history. And that is something that can't escape Dallas. I know Jason Kidd's a phenomenal coach. I know he's a top 10, maybe top 5 coach in the world. I know Cooper Flagg's going to be a generational talent. I get it. But if all those guys aren't back, it ain't going to matter. Dereck Lively is going to be one of them. Coming up next, we'll get into our award tour for the NBA. We'll look at odds to win the most valuable player. We'll look at the DPOY award. We'll look at the 6th Man of the Year award and the NBA Coach of the Year. We'll be back. We're going to do 2 award tours. We'll do the NBA one after this commercial break. Welcome back to the Betting Above the Rim podcast, episode 167. It's time to get into our award tours. We break down markets in the NBA. We'll do it the WNBA last segment. Let's start off with the MVP market with Nikola Jokic, winner of the 3 of the last 5 MVPs, coming into favor at 2-1. SGA at plus 280. Luka Doncic 7-1. Giannis 10-1. Ant-Man and Wemby at 15-1. 35-1 for Brunson and Cade, and 45-1 for Spider and KD. Now, when you think about the MVP market, we always talk about voter fatigue, right? So if we take voter fatigue into play, then we got to eliminate Nikola Jokic, right? SGA, obviously, he's in the beginning of getting into his prime, so he should be properly favored where he is. But I don't want to give bets on that. I want to kind of start looking down the market a little bit. First player I want to look at is Luka Doncic at 7-1. A Luka Doncic that's by far in the best shape that I've seen in the last couple of years. A Luka Doncic that should be motivated after his LA Lakers team did a great job in the second half and absolutely fumbled it in the playoffs, losing 4-1 to the Minnesota Timberwolves. By the way, do know Coach did call that before the series even started. Shout out to me. I will take credit for that. But Luka is motivated. It's Luka's team. We don't know what's going to happen with LeBron. It's a marquee franchise, right? So if he plays the way that he's capable of, particularly if he's in better shape on the defensive end of the floor, 7-1 odds for Luka Doncic is something you should be squarely looking at to play. Where's my other play? Ant-Man 15-1. Why? Because when he is on, he is a top 6 player in the world, top 7 player in the world. Yes, he floats. Sometimes he shoots too many threes. But when he attacks the basket with reckless abandon, I think Ant-Man, if he can get Minnesota to that top 4, top 5 seed in the Western Conference, which would be absolutely loaded, should be in play. He is the leader of that team. I think he's got a good coach in Chris Finch. Maybe run some more off-ball action to get him going. Ant-Man at 15-1. If you want to take a flyer, have it be Cade Cunningham at 35-1. Why? Detroit should be really good. They were horrible in the first half. JB Bickerstaff, we'll talk about him in a little bit, got them to 6th in the Eastern Conference. If JB didn't screw up game 1, they could have maybe taken the Knicks out when he took out Cade. Cade at 35-1 is so enticing because they could be, if they play it right, they could be the 4th best team in the Eastern Conference after Cleveland, New York, Orlando, in whatever order you wish to look at. It'll be right between them and Atlanta in that 4 or 5 slot. So if Detroit can get themselves up to 50 or so wins, you can look at Cade Cunningham at 35-1 as a sleeper, or a long shot pick, as you will, to be MVP. Let's go to DPOY. Who's the favorite? Why are we going to talk about it? It's Wemby, minus 160 next. Chet, 6.5-1. Evan Mobley, 9.5. Amen Thompson and the Great Barrier Reef, Dyson Daniels, 25-1. AD, 30-1. Zubac, 35-1. And then 50-1 for Asur Thompson, Triple J, and Bam Adebayo. Put money on Wemby because he honestly should win it the next 10 years. The problem with Wemby is he's going to get you to 65 or so games to qualify because he gets hurt a lot. So where else do you look? For me, it's Amen Thompson at 25-1. Why? If you look at Şengün, not a strong defender at the 5. You look at KD, not as strong as defender. Then you look in the back with Van Vliet and Reed Shepard. And here's a guy that can guard 1 through 5. He can get the rebounds and he'll get the stocks to get involved. And he's always going to guard the best player on the other team unless it's a big burly center. So for me, if you're looking at anyone besides Wemby, I'm going to put money on Amen Thompson at 25-1. And because he's got his twin brother who is just as dynamic defensively, maybe a sprinkle on Asur as well. The difference is we know Amen's going to start. We would need Asur to start for him to have an impact like his twin brother. Let's go to the 6th Man of the Year award. Peyton Pritchard, plus 340, reigning defending winner. DeAndre Hunter, 7.5-1. Naz Reid, 9-1. Ty Jerome, 15-1. Grady Dick, 17-1. Jordan Clarkson, Karis LeVert, 20-1. Bobby Portis, Cole Anthony. Remember, Cole Anthony just signed with Milwaukee, 25-1. Jared McCain, 30-1. Obviously, Peyton Pritchard will be someone to look at, but what happens if Derek White gets hurt or if Derek White gets traded as Boston continues to punt themselves after this year? So, where do we look? I'm looking at Jordan Clarkson at 20-1. Why? Because Mike Brown is going to utilize his bench. Jordan Clarkson has won a Sixth Man of the Year award, and if you look at that second group, he's got to be dynamically involved. If they decide to start Josh Hart at the 2 with Brunson, with Bridges, with OG and Cat, then Mitchell Robinson goes to the bench and he's not an effective scorer. So you look at that second unit with Yabusele, with obviously Mitch, and with Jordan Clarkson and Deuce McBride, there's your score. Should be able to get about 13 to 14 points a game. Look at Jordan Clarkson, the win Sixth Man of the Year, at 20-1. And if you look at anybody else, look at DeAndre Hunter at plus 750, because y'all know that I am a member of the DeAndre Ayton, oh my God, I can't believe I said that, DeAndre Hunter fan club. I still like DA, but he ain't denominating no more. Let's get to the Coach of the Year odds, where Jamal Mosley is at plus 380 in the leader of the clubhouse. Quinn Snyder, 5-1. Ime Udoka, 8.5-1, along with David Adelman. Mitch Johnson, the new coach of the Spurs, at 10-1, along with JB Bickerstaff. Darko Rakovic at 15-1. Chris Finch, Mike Brown, 25-1. JJ Redick, 30-1. This is based off the fact that these teams are expected to make big jumps. So out of all these teams, who do I expect to make the jump and stay where they are? Jamal Mosley at plus 380, because the fact that I think they're the third best team in the East. I think Desmond Bane helps their shooting, and I think Jace Richardson was a fantastic signing. If they could just keep Wagner, and Banchero, imagine that as a law group, if they could just play 70 games each, then they should be the third best team in the league. And I thought Jamal Mosley, before all the injuries, should have been the head coach of the year. If you want another pick to look at, I will look at Ime Udoka, because I thought Ime Udoka should have been the coach of the year this past year. Coming up next, take a double shot. Shot number 2, we're going to go to the WNBA and do an award tour. We'll look at regular season win totals of the WNBA to try and find you what teams we think go over and under in regards to the W. It's an interesting time to do it as the WNBA goes to their All-Star break. We'll be back with an award tour, WNBA edition, after this commercial break. Welcome back to the Betting Above the Rim podcast, episode 167. And it's time to normally do a scouting report, but with no games in the WNBA, just the All-Star game this Saturday night. Make sure you tune in and watch. Better way to do this is let's do another award tour. We'll focus on the regular season win totals. Right now, according to the FanDuel Sportsbook, Minnesota Lynx with 33.5. New York Liberty at 31.5. Phoenix Mercury, remember I told you to take them at 24.5. They're at 29.5. Seattle, 26.5. Indiana Fever, 25.5, along with the Atlanta Dream. Vegas Aces at 22.5. Golden State Valkyries, remember I told you to take over 8.5. They're at 20.5, along with the Washington Mystics. Sparks, 16.5. Wings, 12.5. Remember I told you to take under 19.5. Sky, 14.5 or 12.5. And then the Connecticut Sun, you don't even want to look at it because they're so damn bad it doesn't even matter. So when you look at this, a way that I break this down, folks, just for advice is I use Tankathon. Tankathon is a great resource in regards to how to kind of look at things like this. So what do I look at? I look at the remaining strength of schedule. And as you can see, the Connecticut Sun not only have the worst record in the league, they have the hardest schedule the rest of the way. The team with the second worst record has the second toughest schedule the rest of the way. So I find that pretty interesting. Let's get to the teams here because I want to take some time and talk about a couple of them. Number 1 is Indiana. Indiana Fever won the Commissioner's Cup is sitting at 25.5 wins. When you look at the Indiana Fever, folks, they have the third toughest schedule left to go with 22 games left. So when you look at this team with 12 wins, and they have a win total, I do believe, of, 24.5, I do believe, 25.5, that means that they have to get 14 more wins out of 22 games. They have the third toughest schedule in the league. We don't know when Caitlin Clark's going to get back. She's hurt. They got to take their time. I know they played well with Caitlin Clark the first time around. I don't see it the next time around. I'm going under 25.5 for Indiana Fever. But that does not mean I don't think they're a title contender. I just think they have to prioritize their health more than anything. Let's get to a team like the New York Liberty at 31.5 wins. New York Liberty have 14 wins. They should have win number 15 tonight, right, which then puts them at getting 15. They're going to need 17 more wins. In regards to that, they have 24 games left to go. So that means you have to go 17-7. Well, New York Liberty has a fourth easiest schedule the rest of the way. Aces, Valkyries, the Aces game should be tough, but they should be able to get it. Valkyries, it's 2. 4 if you count the Sparks. 6 if you count the Sky. You count the Wings, that's 9. That's 12 wins. So I would need 5 more wins left between the Lynx, the Mercury, the Storm, the Dream, the Fever, and the Mystics. I think to go over 31.5 because I think at some point there should be a ramp up of Jonquel Jones. There's also the talk that people haven't realized is Leona Febic did miss time. Febic is back and she's playing pretty well. So I do like the New York Liberty to go over 31.5. Let's get to my favorite team, the Chicago Sky. Sitting at a 14.5 wins on the FanDuel Sportsbook. You look at a team like the Chicago Sky coming in at a record at 6-16 after, ready folks, a 40-point loss this last time out. So where am I looking? Well, if you look at the schedule, they have the 5th toughest schedule, 23 games left to go. Can they find a way to get 8 more wins? Well, let's look at that schedule really quick, folks, because when you look at it closely, 3 versus Connecticut, I'll give them those. 2 Valkyries, 3 Aces. Y'all think that they're going to go between, let's say, those 8 games, 6-2? They're lucky if they go 4-4. It's probably more like 3-5. So now I got them to about 11 wins. Where are the other 5 wins coming from when they have to play the Lynx 3 times, the Mercury 2 times, Liberty once, Seattle once, Atlanta 3 times, and the Fever once? I just don't see it. I'm going under, because I've gone under 14.5 wins for the Chicago Sky. So really quick, we are going with under 25.5 for the Indiana Fever. We're going over 31.5 for the New York Liberty, and then we're going under 14.5 for the Chicago Sky. This has been your Betting Above the Rim podcast for July 16th. For all things sports gambling, download that Sports Grid app. Pre-game, in-game, post-game, props, predictions, and more from the very best in the sports gambling industry. Next podcast, next week, we'll look into the second half of the WNBA a little bit more, maybe look at some future markets, and continue talking about the NBA as we get closer to the season. From our producer, Matty George, thanks for listening, folks. Always remember, it's smarter to be on Sports Grid. Good night.